Hi, my name is Sam Johnson and I am a voice teacher. Today I will be reacting to and analyzing Ed Sheeran performing Bad Habits feat Bring Me the Horizon live at the Brit Awards 2022. Before we get to the video, here's an ad for NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/samjohnson to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. And with NordVPN's 30-day risk-free guarantee, you could get your money back if you don't like it, but you will like it. NordVPN has over 5,200 different servers in 60 countries. So if you want to go to a far-off place like France, which is so far away from everyone, then you can go to France and watch French Netflix. They even have a double VPN feature, so if you're not happy with one VPN, you can put your VPN in another VPN, and then you got this double VPN. Click the link in the description to go to nordvpn.com/samjohnson and get a huge discount on a 2-year plus 1 month plan. You can also use the promo code SamJohnson during your checkout. That's 25 whole months that you could be having a discount. Like 25 months. That's a long time. I have no idea where I'm gonna be in 25 months. Good, so you can hear that he's starting in a totally disconnected place, and then there's a pretty sudden change as he comes back down into his chest voice. What I try to do with these videos is I try to just say everything that comes into my mind as if someone was in front of me in my studio or in a lesson online. What would just be going through my mind, which a lot of it is just kind of noise, but some of it just informs what kind of exercises I will do with them, or what kind of things I'll talk to them about, or what kind of questions I'll ask. So I think just learning to hear a sound and then put words to that sound can then let you have those conversations. So I do like how released he sounded at the top. That sounds really nice.
Every time you come around, you know I can't say no. Every time the sun goes down, I let you take control.
But he's got this sense of the pitch being on top of everything. Every time versus like every time, where everything would be a little bit more underneath.
I can feel the paradise before my world implodes. And tonight had something wonderful.
Good. As he was going up, as he was ascending on that line, everything started getting lighter. So it wasn't a sudden change as he went to the top, and it was just suddenly it was all adjusting the entire way through, which is really important. It's so important to know where you're going when you're starting a line so that you don't have to suddenly make a big change, because that doesn't sound as musical most of the time.
I got nothing left to lose or use or do. My bad habits need to white. I stare into space and I know I lose control of the things that I say. I was looking for a way out, now I can't escape. Nothing happens after 2. It's true, my bad habits lead to you.
Good, so up to here, he's spending most of his time around this F area, and then every once in a while going up to the G, but most of this is on the F. I like how he's doing it because I'm not scared that he's not gonna be able to go higher, which even if he doesn't have to go higher, there's this kind of idea that if it feels like they can't go higher, then the note that they're on doesn't work as well for me. But it's from the very beginning, like that quality I was talking about of being on top of it helps me feel like it's not gonna get stuck. It doesn't sound like a chest pull kind of thing. So yeah, I think he's doing quite a bit well.
Every pure intention ends when the good times start.
Good, he has more of that under voice. Every da-da-ba, and he's letting a lot of air kind of come through to color it. It's an interesting sound. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but hearing this, I don't immediately get the impression of like, oh, that'll work as we start going higher, because it's just less balanced. Having all of that extra air stops working as you start going higher, and that's not even counting the vowel kind of quality of the like, even if I had less air moving through and the similar vowel, everything's just a little bit under, which it sounds really cool and it works in this register. It's just kind of what I'm hearing so far.
Falling over everything to reach the first time spot.
Oh yeah, I can do that with my arms too. I just choose not to.
Neon lights and then it all got dark.
Yeah, so we went up to a A. It's with his voice, he's looking for inefficiency in a way. I mean, that's not totally fair, to be honest. You can make very efficient, rough sounds, but he's not looking to make a standard, healthy phonation, good, efficient acoustic vowels and even airflow. Like, he's got the even airflow, I think, really well, and it doesn't sound like he's blasting that top note. So it's efficient within itself, but it is not a traditional singing technique kind of thing. Even though a lot of the qualities kind of work for both, especially good vowels and good airflow. But at the source, at the vocal folds, there's more air moving through the vocal cords that I can hear. There might be some vocal fry kind of scream coming on. There might be some vestibular fold stuff. I don't know. I'm not as good at exactly figuring out what's going on with screams all the time, but I think it sounds cool.
I only know how to go too far.
And then up to the B. Far! Far! See, as soon as I do it, it just like really shakes because I haven't worked on balancing it in that way. But it's actually not that far off from the one that I have worked on balancing more. Far! It's just that, which is a very easy sound to make. And then like he makes his face look intense and he kind of roughs up the sound on top of it. I think there's like some quality underneath it. I don't listen to that sound and think, oh no, he's gonna blow out his voice in the next 2 minutes.
Conversations with a stranger I barely know. Swearing this will be the last, but it probably won't. I got nothing left to lose or use or do.
On that phrase, he had a little bit more traditional technique. His vocal folds were just like phonating a little bit more and it sounded more on top to me. So that's that difference. He can do both of them.
Habits lead to white eyes stare into space. When I know I lose control of the things that I say. I was looking for a way out, now I can't escape. Nothing happens after two. It's true, my bad habits lead to you.
Some parts of that I do feel like, okay, yeah, we're just kind of screaming in a way that might hurt after you do it for a while. But that kind of has a different quality to me than the one before. Again, all of this is just blind. It would be wonderful to have a conversation with him and ask, are you getting exhausted with this? Because ultimately, if he's like, no, it feels great, then why not trust the artist? It feels great. And then my job as the vocal teacher would be to just keep warming him up in as healthy of a way as works for my ear, because that's a big part of what you're paying for with voice lessons, is just trusting another person's aesthetic preferences and trusting that they will kind of help guide you toward both the aesthetic preferences and also just healthy vocalizing. But sometimes I get kind of nervous because it's like, if my preferences don't line up with what another person, with the student wants, then that's not good. So like within all of this, there's got to be this conversation of like, what sounds do you like? Does this feel good? Can you get away with this for very long? My assumption with that would be that like that wouldn't feel good for a really long time, which is awesome because he's only singing for like 4 minutes. You know, you can get away with the kind of unhealthy habits, with bad habits. I'm so funny. The bad habits lead to you. You can get away with them for a little bit every once in a while, but it doesn't work for a really long time. You don't see very many opera stars or Broadway people using ineffective, inefficient screams because they just would have to cancel too many shows.
We took the long way round, but till the fun ran out.
I really like his energy, man. I've never seen this guy sing. I've never seen him perform, but I really like him on stage because he is in it. And I like it when performers are in it. The other night, I was watching some lovely performers, including Courtney from Spirit Box and Spencer and Aaron and all of the other friends from Under Oath. And like, they were just in it. Like from the moment that Courtney walked out on stage, she was just this character and I didn't see her break. And it was like, it's different. And the Under Oath guys, every single person in that band was, from the moment they walked on, they were feeling it, they were performing the entire time.
Swimming, this will be the last, but it probably won't. I got nothing left to lose or use, or do my bad habits lead to you. My bad habits lead to you.
Good, so that's the highest note that he has sung in a full voice, and it kind of cracked, which was kind of cool. My bad habits, bad habits, bad habits. You can do whatever you want. I think that the crack sounded nice, and so working on the approach with exercises and with technical practice is important so that you feel confidence to just go for it. But like, if that wasn't intentional, who cares? Like, ultimately, I've been saying that word a lot. So if one of my students who I have been saying ultimately with about 50 times a lesson watches this, shouts out to ultimately. Ultimately, when you're on stage, when you're performing, the sounds that come out of your mouth are right. So you have to give yourself permission for them to be right, because if he had practiced it a million different ways and was so concerned with it sounding an exact way, and then that sound came out, he might be a little bummed, you know? If only getting it to this one specific sound is the only way that makes things work and is right, then you're not going to be right practically ever. And I think that that's a pretty terrible way to live and to perform. So I think it's much more useful to give yourself permission to explore everything in practice. And then when you're in a performance situation, to just trust that it's okay and go for it. And if something goes wrong, fix it. Get back on track and fix it. But with him, it was great because it was intentional. He wanted that. I'm sure of it. Sick. That's sick. I love metal, and I love fast drums, and I love screaming. So I think that this all made this song more interesting for me. Those screams at the end, like, yeah, that's a techniqued scream. Like, that is a thing that he has practiced to get to where he's at. And I don't know, some people kind of are afraid of technique and of voice lessons and stuff, but they find their own technique. No one gets this good without having technique. He sounded good. His mouth was open all the way through. It sounded more like a vocal fry kind of scream. I'd love for people who know more about scream terminology and who might scream more than me to chime off in the comments, which I will definitely read, and let me know what you think. What would you hear if you were the teacher of these fine gentlemen and they walked into your studio and you had to tell them things? What are you noticing? Comments. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and go check out our wonderful sponsor. Also, go check out all the links in the description if you're interested in signing up for voice lessons of your own. My website is vocalese.net, and there are people on there you can sign up with, and maybe even me.